Hello students, today's topic is about the impacts of the water pollution, and in this lecture we shall be discussing about what we mean by eutrophication, what we mean by oligotrophication, and what are the different diseases associated with this water pollution. I am Dr. F.A. Loon, professor in the Division of Environmental Sciences, Sukast, Kashmir. Before giving the details about the impacts, let's have a look on some hard facts related to the water pollution. According to United Nations, more than 80% of the world's wastewater flows back into the environment without being treated or reused. And in some least developed countries, the figures even tops to up to 95%. WHO estimates that about 2 billion people have no option but to drink water contaminated by excrement, thus exposing them to the diseases such as cholera, hepatitis A, and dysentery. Consumption of polluted water is a major cause of ill health in India. Polluted water causes some of the deadly diseases like cholera, dysentery, diarrhea, tuberculosis, jaundice, etc. And about 80% of the stomach diseases in India are caused by the water pollution. As far as impacts are concerned, due to the sewage water quality gets deteriorated and it leads to the lack of potable water. That means you are then not having a very good water to drink. And it also leads to the excessive weed growth due to the loading of the nutrients in the waters. And finally, it leads to the eutrophication or sometimes to the oligotrophication and anoxia. Anoxia means the depletion of oxygen in the water bodies. It also leads to the algal blooms and it also contaminates the food chain. And there's also the disease outbreak due to the metal pollution and the microbes. And then you have got the two important problems like bioaccumulation and biomagnification. And it also affects the lifespan, morphology, food assimilation of different aquatic organisms. This water pollution also affects the nutrient cycling, loss of biodiversity is there. And then also, if you are talking about radioactive wastes, which they can persist in the environment for thousands of years, and it also has a very, very bad effects as far as the water quality is concerned. And oil pollution also, which has been reported in many parts of the globe, and they also affect the photosynthesis in the marine ecosystems. They also deplete the oxygen in the waters, and then they cause a lot of damage to the water birds, coastal plants, and the animals. Two important things are associated with the water pollution. One is called as eutrophication, and the another term which we call as oligotrophication. As far as eutrophication is concerned, it is basically the excessive richness of the nutrients in a lake or other body of the water, and it is frequently due to the runoff from the land, which causes dense growth of plant life. Harmful blooms, algal blooms, dead zones, and fish kills are the results of this process, what we call as eutrophication. And as far as oligotrophication is concerned, it is the process of nutrient depletion or reduction in rates of nutrient cycling in aquatic ecosystem. It arises as a consequence of acidification, typically the result of pollution and most notably associated with air pollution and acid rain. Oligotrophic environments are those that offer little to sustain life. These environments include deep oceanic sediments, caves, glacial and polar ice caps, subsurface soil, aquifers, ocean waters, and leached soils. As far as the eutrophication is concerned, eutrophication is a phenomenon which is mostly found in the lakes in India also. It is the enrichment of an ecosystem, as I told you, with chemical nutrients, especially compounds containing nitrogen, phosphorus, or both from the runoff. And this generally promotes excessive growth of the algae. And as the algae die and decompose, high levels of organic matter and the decomposing organisms deplete the available oxygen and deplete the available oxygen in the water this phenomenon is referred as anoxia. This causes the death of the organisms such as fish and causes a severe reduction in water quality. Then I will give you some information about what we basically mean by what is the difference between oligotrophic and the eutrophic lakes. And if you will first see that the definition, uh, under oligotrophic, it means those lakes which are having less nutrients and the water in those lakes is clean. But if you are talking about the eutrophic lakes, the lakes with higher nutrient content and green color water, nutrient content in oligotrophic lakes is low. It contains low concentration of nitrogen, phosphorus, and high concentration of oxygen. But if you are talking about the eutrophic lakes, the concentration of the nitrogen, phosphorus is very high, but there is less of the oxygen content. As far as the BOD is concerned, which means biological oxygen demand, it is very low in oligotrophic lakes, but it's very high in eutrophic lakes. And the penetration of sunlight in the lakes is very high in oligotrophic lakes because of the clarity of the water, but it's very low in case of the eutrophic lakes. As far as the odor is concerned, no odor, as there is less decomposition activity. But as far as the eutrophic lake is concerned, there is the presence of odor due to the high decomposition rate. Indicator of pollution, there is not an indicator of pollution in the oligotrophic lakes, but in the eutrophic lakes we have a direct indicator of pollution, as we see that there is excess of the algal blooms. Presence of algal blooms is very high in the eutrophic lakes. This is one of the indicators of the pollution level. Then quality of water, it's cold and more dissolved oxygen is there and it is colorless. But in eutrophic lakes you will have comparatively hot water. It is muddy and mostly greenish in color. And you will see the examples of the oligotrophic lakes, like we have the Shishnak Lake, or Soa Morari Lake, Garsar Lake, Pangong Lake, Tarsar Lake, Marsal Lake, and Nonkol Lake. They are all found in Kashmir as well as in Ladakh region. And then we have got a very good example of the eutrophic lake now in Dal Lake also, Kashmir Valley. Then Shahpur Lake of Bhopal and Kulura Lake in Andhra Pradesh. These are the two pictures showing you. The left one is the oligotrophic lake and the right one is the eutrophic lake. In the oligotrophic lake, you will find that the water is clear, but in the eutrophic lake, it's entire greenish because of the excessive weed growth in the eutrophic lakes. And if you are seeing this Dal Lake, this is the Dal Lake in Kashmir Valley, and in this Dal Lake, you will find that this reddish type of the color is because of the eutrophication, and there's one protist, what is called as Euglena. It is because of the Euglena species. And on the right side, you will find that these green patches are basically of the exotic species, which we call as Azolla cristata. And once this Azolla also turns, ripe, it matures, it also turns somewhat orange color or somewhat reddish in color. So these are the two pictures of the Dal Lake of the Kashmir Valley. And then there are two more important phenomena associated with this water pollution. One is called as bioaccumulation. It takes place in a single organism over the span of life, resulting in higher concentration in older individual. That means there is a constant accumulation of certain toxic things in one individual. But as far as the biomagnification is concerned, it takes place as chemicals transfer from lower trophic level to the higher trophic level within a food web, resulting in higher concentration in apex predator. That means there is a constant flow of the different toxic materials from one trophic level to another trophic level in an ecosystem. And then there are different diseases as far as the water pollution is concerned. Minamata disease is one disease which was reported basically in Minamata in Japan, and this is because of the mercury pollution which was taken up by the people who took this fish which was contaminated by methyl mercury, and this is a neurological problem, this Minamata disease. Then we also know about the Itai disease. Itai disease also, it's caused by one more heavy metal that's called as cadmium, and this is as a result of human activities related to the industrialization, and this is characterized by osteomalacia with severe bone pain and is associated with renal tuber dysfunction. Then we also know about the bilirubin syndrome. It is because of the excess of the nitrate in the water bodies, and it is a condition where a baby's skin turns blue. This happens when there is not enough oxygen in the blood. Methylglobinemia is a condition that some babies are born with or some develop early in the life. And similarly, we have got one more type of the disease, what is called as knock-knee syndrome. It is a condition in which the knees bend inwards and touch or knock against one another. Even when a person is standing with their ankles apart, this places excessive force on the outer side of the knees, which can cause pain and damage over time. It is due to the fluoride pollution. And then you have got other diseases like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, hepatitis A, typhoid, and polio, which are all concerned with this water pollution. Then there are many examples. We had the largest oil spill in India also, which caused a lot of water pollution, like on 28th of January 2017 in Chennai. The two ships, they collided and there was an oil spill. Then in oil spill of Mumbai also in 2010, the two vessels, they collided and there was an oil spill and it caused a lot of environmental issues in that region. And then there are some issues like in Asia's dolphins in in Hong Kong rivers, that the dolphins are under the threat because of the water pollution. And then there are some reports that even the fish, they develop tumors because of the different types of the water pollutants as is shown in this picture. So students, thank you very much for watching this video. All the best. Take care.